In the second season of Rick and Morty, there is a scene where the smartest man in the universe sits down in his garage, points a death ray at his own head, and waits for it to fire. He does not say anything, he does not cry, he does not leave a note. He just slumps over before the timer ends, and the camera holds on him for a full day while his family eats breakfast a few feet away. Nobody comes to check on him. That is the show. For 7 seasons, Rick and Morty has been wearing a costume. The costume is the burping. The costume is the cartoons. The costume is the silly aliens and the gross jokes and the wild adventures. Underneath the costume, the show has been quietly telling one of the saddest stories ever put into animation. Tonight, we are walking through 10 of them. Welcome to Ricktopus. Let's get started. The Bomb in the Garage. Rick Sanchez has a wife. Her name is Diane. Their daughter is a little girl named Beth. This is the part of the story the show hides for almost 5 whole seasons. It hides it so well that for years, people watching at home are not even sure if Diane is real. They think maybe Rick made her up. They think maybe she is just a story Rick tells to trick people. But she is real. She is the start of everything. And the show finally tells you the truth in a flashback that lasts only a few minutes. In that flashback, Rick is younger. His hair is darker. His face is softer. He is in his garage working on something, and he is happy. Diane is there with him. They are joking around. Little Beth is in the room. The whole picture is warm in a way Rick has never looked since. He is wearing a turquoise top and white pants, and she is leaning into him. It looks like a normal family. It looks like a man who has everything he could ever want. Then another Rick walks in. This other Rick is from a different world. He looks almost the same. Same lab coat, same hair, same face. He carries a portal gun. He has figured out how to travel between every possible world that has ever existed. And he is going around to other Ricks to share the secret. He thinks all the smart Ricks should join him. He thinks anyone who would rather stay home with a wife and a child is wasting their mind. He thinks love is a chain. He offers Rick the portal gun. He wants Rick to come with him. Rick says no. Rick looks at Diane. Rick looks at Beth. Rick chooses them. He says he is not interested. He says he wants to stay. This is the most important choice Rick Sanchez ever makes in his entire life. Not the smartest, not the most dramatic, just the one moment where he picks a regular life over a life of unlimited power. He picks a wife over the universe. He picks his daughter over being a god. The other Rick does not take it well. He leaves. He comes back later. And the next time we see the garage, it is on fire. There is a bomb. There is light. There is heat. There is screaming. And by the time the smoke clears, Diane is dead. Little Beth is dead. The garage is a hole in the ground. Rick is the only one left, standing in the wreckage, holding nothing. The other Rick has a name. People later call him Rick Prime. He killed Diane, and he killed Beth, and he disappeared back into the endless worlds. He did it because he was angry. He did it because Rick said no to him. He did it because some part of him could not stand seeing another version of himself happy with a family, so he took the family away. The reason this matters is because everything Rick is now, every single thing about how he acts, every drink, every burp, every cruel joke, every time he says he does not care, every time he hurts someone he loves and walks away, all of it starts in that garage. All of it starts the day Diane died. Rick spends the next many years of his life hunting. He builds the portal gun himself. He finishes the work he was doing the day his family died. He uses the technology that the other Rick offered him, but he uses it for one reason only. He uses it to find the killer. He travels through countless worlds, kicking down doors, looking for the Rick who walked in and ruined his life. He meets other Ricks. He kills some of them. He helps build a giant floating city called the Citadel, a place where every Rick from every world can come together. He even helps draw the lines around which worlds count and which do not. He does all of this because he thinks if he can just find the right Rick, if he can just put a bullet in the right head, the pain will stop. It does not stop. Years go by. The Rick he is looking for is hidden. The other Rick has made copies of himself, fakes, traps, bodies that look just like him. Every time our Rick thinks he has the killer, it turns out to be another decoy. Every time he gets close, the trail goes cold. Decades pass. Rick grows older. He starts drinking more. He starts caring less. He starts believing that nothing matters. Because if he can let himself believe that, then maybe Diane not being here will hurt less. Maybe Beth not being here will hurt less. Maybe his life will stop feeling like a long, stretched out scream. This is when he turns mean. The Rick we meet at the start of the show, the one who burps and yells and treats his grandson like a piece of equipment, the one who says love is a chemical and family is a trap, that Rick is a man wearing the costume of someone who does not care. The costume is heavy and it is old, and he has worn it so long he cannot tell where the costume costume ends and he begins. But under it is a man who once said no to the whole universe because he wanted to stay in a garage with the people he loved. Now here is where it gets worse. Many, many years later, Rick finally finds the killer. He fights him. He wins. He beats him to death with his bare hands. And just before the killer dies, the killer tells Rick something. The killer says he did not just kill Rick's Diane, he killed every Diane in every world, everywhere. He built a special weapon for it. A weapon that can erase one person from every single place they have ever existed. He used it on Diane. He pointed it at her face and pulled the trigger and wiped her out of every reality at the same time. That means there is no other Diane out there. In a show where Rick can hop into any world and find another version of any person he wants, where there is always another Grandpa, another Beth, another Morty, another Jerry, where nobody is ever truly gone, Diane is the one exception. Diane is the one person Rick cannot get back. He has technology that can do almost anything. He has friends in 100 worlds. He has more power than any human being has ever held, and he still cannot get her back. Not even a copy, not even a fake, not even a stranger who looks like her. She is gone from every place, every time, every version of forever. The killer made sure of that. This is the wound that does not close. Rick can go to a world where his daughter is a surgeon. He can go to a world where she is a queen. He can go to a world where she never lived at all. He can pick any reality he wants, but every single one of them is missing the same person. Every single one of them has no Diane in it, and Rick has to live inside that fact every minute of every day. For a while, he tries something strange. He makes a fake Diane, not a clone, not a body, just a voice, a computer that speaks like her. He puts it in his old house in his old world, and he sets it up so it will sometimes call out from the other room like she is in there, like she is just about to walk in, like he is going to hear footsteps. The computer reminds him she is dead. The computer reminds him he failed to save her. The computer tells him to keep hunting. He built a robot to haunt himself. He built a ghost on purpose. He needed to keep the hurt fresh, because if the hurt went away, the reason to keep going might go away with it. There is also a moment much later where Rick is offered a chance to see her one last time. There is a strange place called the fear hole, where the deepest fear inside you takes a shape and walks out. Inside that place, a version of Diane appears. She is not real. Rick knows she is not real, but she looks like her, and she sounds like her, and she would talk to him if he stepped inside. He stands at the edge of it. He thinks about jumping in. He could see her face one more time. He could hear her voice say his name. He could pretend for a few minutes that none of it happened. He does not jump. He turns and walks away, because he knows that if he stepped in, he would not be able to come out. He would lose himself in a fake forever, holding a fake wife, and somewhere down the line, even fake Diane would figure out she was fake, and the whole thing would crumble. So he leaves her behind a second time. He chooses the real, hard, empty world instead of the soft, pretend one. He chooses to keep hurting. What this means, when you put it all together, is that the Rick on screen, the one drinking himself into a coma, the one dragging his grandson into danger every weekend, the one screaming at his daughter and treating his son-in-law like trash, that Rick is a widower, that Rick is a father whose child was murdered, that Rick is a man who has spent the last several decades of his life trying to think his way out of a pain that no thinking can fix. The drinking is not a personality trait. The drinking is medicine for something that has no medicine. The yelling is not a personality trait. The yelling is what happens when grief turns into rust. The cruelty is not a personality trait. The cruelty is a wall, built one brick at a time, around the part of him that is still standing in a burning garage, holding his dead wife and his dead daughter. And here is the saddest part, the part that takes a while to settle in. Rick does not get to grieve the normal way. He does not get to break down once and slowly heal. He does not get to look at old photos and feel sad and call a friend. He has the multiverse. He has every world ever made open to him. So everywhere he goes, he sees almost his life. He sees houses that almost look like his old house. He sees daughters that almost look like Beth. He sees men who almost look like the man he used to be. He cannot escape the shape of what he lost, because the universe keeps offering him versions of it, none of which are quite right. He is stuck in a museum of near misses, and Diane is in none of them. The current Beth, the one we see every day on the show, is not even his original daughter. She is a different Beth from a different world
that Rick latched onto after his own little
little girl was killed. He moved in with her and her family because she looked enough like the daughter he lost. He has been raising her family, sort of, ever since. He has never told her this. He keeps it secret. He lets her think he is her real father. He carries that lie because the truth would break her, and because saying it out loud might break him. When you understand that, every single moment between Rick and Beth changes shape. When she leans on him and says she admires him, he is holding a stranger who has the face of his dead child. When he picks a fight with her to push her away, he is making sure she never gets close enough to find out. When she asks him to be a father, really be a father, he freezes. Because the part of him that knew how to do that was buried in a garage a long, long time ago, next to a little girl in a small dress. And the man at the kitchen table, the one cracking jokes and burping and rolling his eyes at his family, has been carrying all of this since before the show even started. Every episode, every joke, every drunken scheme, all of it sits on top of a foundation made of one quiet flashback. A garage, a wife, a daughter, a bomb, a choice he made for love, and the universe punishing him for it. That is who Rick Sanchez actually is. Now, the strange thing is, the bomb in the garage is not even the worst thing that happens to him. It is just the first. There are other losses waiting for him further down the road. There are friends who will die in front of him. There are lovers who will leave him in the middle of the night. There are doors he will close on people who only wanted to help. And every single one of those moments will start to make sense, slowly, painfully, only after you understand what happened in that garage. Before we move on, if you're enjoying this analysis, please consider subscribing. It helps the channel tremendously. Because somewhere out there, in a world none of us live in, a little girl is having a birthday, and her dad is fixing her bicycle in the driveway, and her mom is bringing them lemonade, and a man with a portal gun is about to ring the doorbell. Section 2. The Boy Who Buried Himself. Morty Smith is 14 years old. He likes a girl in his class. Her name is Jessica. She has long red hair, and she barely knows he exists. Morty thinks about her all the time. He thinks about her in math class. He thinks about her at dinner. He thinks about her when he is supposed to be sleeping. He has been crushing on her for a long time, and he has never had the courage to say anything to her face. So one night, before a school dance, he does something stupid. He asks his grandpa for help. His grandpa is the smartest man in the universe. His grandpa can build anything. So Morty asks Rick for a love potion, something to make Jessica like him back, just for one night, just for the dance. Rick rolls his eyes. He mixes something together in the garage in about 30 seconds. He hands Morty a small bottle. He tells Morty it will work. He also tells Morty, as he is heading out the door, not to use it on anyone who has the flu. Morty barely listens. He grabs the bottle. He runs. Jessica has the flu. This one detail, this one tiny thing, this is what ends the world. Morty puts the potion on Jessica at the dance. It works at first. She melts. She looks at him like he is the only boy in the room. He cannot believe it. For about 30 seconds, he gets exactly what he wanted. Then the potion mixes with the flu virus in her body. The flu makes things spread, and the potion is now in the air. Every person in the gym starts breathing it in. Every person in the gym starts wanting Morty. Then it leaves the gym. Then it leaves the school. Then it leaves the town. Then it leaves the country. Within a few hours, every single human being on Earth, except for people related to Morty by blood, is in love with him. Wildly, violently, obsessed. People start tearing each other apart trying to get to him. Rick tries to fix it. He makes a second potion. He uses praying mantis pieces because praying mantises eat their mates, which is supposed to cancel out the love. He sprays it everywhere. For 1 second, it looks like it worked. Then, everyone on Earth turns into a praying mantis person who still wants Morty, and now also wants to bite his head off after. Rick tries a third potion. This one is made of a random mix of animal pieces all thrown together. He sprays it, and every person on Earth, every man, every woman, every child, turns into a giant, lumpy, gross monster. Skin folds, drool, eyes in strange places. The whole planet in one afternoon becomes a planet of monsters. Morty stands on a rooftop with his grandpa and looks down at the streets of the town he grew up in. The streets are full of things that used to be his neighbors, his math teacher, his friends, the kids from his school. Jessica, somewhere in that crowd, is one of the lumpy monsters now too. The whole world is ruined, and it is Morty's fault. He asked for a girl to notice him. He destroyed the planet. Rick looks at the wreckage. He shrugs. He says he has a backup plan. The backup plan is this. There are an endless number of worlds out there, an endless number of Earths, an endless number of Mortys, an endless number of Ricks. Somewhere out there, in one of those other Earths, the same thing happened, but a different version of Rick figured out how to fix it. And then, by sheer rotten luck, that version of Rick and that version of Morty died in their garage right after fixing it. So that Earth is back to normal, but with no Rick and no Morty in it. Rick opens a portal. He grabs Morty by the shirt. He pulls him through. They step out of the portal into a garage that looks exactly like their garage. Same workbench, same tools, same posters on the wall. The only only difference is that there are two bodies on the floor. One is Rick, one is Morty. Both burnt, both bloody, both very, very dead. The other Rick and the other Morty. The ones from this clean Earth. The ones who got it right and then got unlucky. Rick tells Morty to help him drag the bodies into the backyard. He is going to bury them. He is going to bury them, and then he is going to walk back into the house, and the family inside, the Beth and the Jerry and the Summer inside, will think their Rick and their Morty just came back from running an errand. They will never know. They will never ask. The replacement will be perfect. Morty will get to live with them. He will get to eat dinner with them. He will get to go to school with the same kids. Everything will look the same. He just has to do one thing first. He has to bury his own body. He stands in his own backyard, in a yard that is identical to his real backyard, holding a shovel, looking down at a corpse with his face on it. The same hair, the same yellow shirt, the same shoes. The body is dead. The body is him. And Morty has to dig a hole and roll that body into the hole and cover it up and walk inside and sit down at the dinner table and smile at a mom and a dad who are not really his mom and his dad. He has to pretend forever. He digs the hole. The song that plays during this is called Look On Down from the Bridge. It is slow and sad and goes on and on. Morty looks at the camera. His eyes are wide and empty. He has tears on his face. He is 14 and he just buried himself in the dirt, and he is going to walk into a stranger's kitchen and call her mom for the rest of his life. He looks like he is hollow. He looks like something inside him just turned off. He does not say a word. The episode ends. Now here is where it gets so much worse. Most shows would do something like this and then walk it back. They would have Morty wake up in the morning and realize it was all a dream. Or they would have Rick reverse it somehow. Or they would have Morty go to therapy and start to heal. None of that happens. The next episode starts. And Morty is just living there, in the wrong house, with the wrong family, pretending. The show never goes back to fix it. The graves in the backyard stay in the backyard. The real Beth and the real Jerry and the real Summer, the ones who actually birthed him and raised him, are still alive in the monster world. They are still walking around as lumpy creatures. They have lost their son and they do not even know it. They have lost their family and they will spend the rest of their lives wondering where their boy went. And Morty knows, and he cannot do anything, and he just keeps eating breakfast. A couple of episodes later, his fake sister Summer is fighting with her parents and decides to run away. She is upset. She thinks no one in this family wants her. Morty wants to comfort her, so he tells her the truth. He takes her to the window. He points at the two small lumps of dirt in the backyard. He explains what they are. He tells her that he is not her brother. He tells her that her real brother is dead and buried right outside. He tells her that he came from somewhere else. He tells her that this happens all the time. He says the words that the show is built on. He says nobody exists on purpose. He says nobody belongs anywhere. He says everybody is going to die. Then he asks her if she wants to come watch television. Summer stays. The two of them sit on the couch. Morty looks at the screen with the same hollow face he had when he was holding the shovel. He is using cartoons to numb himself. He has learned at 14 that the only way to keep walking through a life that does not belong to you is to not think about it. Just turn on the television. Just watch the noise. Just let the time pass. There is something the show is doing here, very quietly, that takes a few watches to notice. Morty was supposed to be the normal one. Morty was supposed to be the grandson who pulls Rick back from being a monster. Morty was supposed to be the heart of the show, the kid who still believes in things, the kid who still cares. After he buries himself, that boy is gone. Yes, he still goes on adventures. Yes, he still gets nervous. Yes, he still has feelings for Jessica. But the Morty who was a regular middle school kid, worried about regular middle school problems, that Morty is buried in the dirt. The one we keep watching is the replacement. He has the same body. He has the same voice. He has the same memories of his old life, which now technically belong to a dead boy. But something in him has been cracked all the way open, and you cannot uncrack it. Every time the show seems to ask why Morty is so easily okay with horrible things, why he can shoot at monsters without flinching, why he can watch people die and just keep walking, the answer is sitting in two small graves behind his house. You only get to be a normal kid until the day you bury yourself. Then you become whatever comes next. What hurts the most about this story is how quietly the show treats it. There are no big speeches about it later. There's no moment where Morty sits down with someone and cries about what he did. There's no point where Rick apologizes for making him do it. Rick never apologizes. The whole thing just gets folded into the background of the show, like an old stain on the carpet that nobody mentions anymore. The graves are still there. They show up in the corner of shots sometimes. Visitors do not notice. The family does not notice. Morty walks past them every morning, and inside, somewhere, Morty knows. He always knows. He cannot stop knowing. The reason this counts as one of the biggest tragedies of the whole show is because it is the moment Morty stops being a child. He is too young to handle what just happened to him. He has no friends he can tell. He has no parents he can run to. The parents in this house are not his parents. The grandpa who pulled him through the portal is the same one who made the potion that destroyed his world in the first place. There is nobody to talk to. There is nobody who would understand. And so Morty just carries it quietly for years, while going to school, while doing homework, while crushing on Jessica, while eating dinner. He carries the weight of an entire dead Earth and a dead version of himself, and he does it while smiling, because the alternative is to scream forever. The picture the show paints with this one episode is bleak in a way that most cartoons would never even try. It is saying that the world can end because of one bad choice you made when you were 14. It is saying that you can lose everything and still have to keep living. It is saying that you can be replaced and nobody will notice. It is saying that the worst thing that ever happens to you can become the thing nobody else even remembers. Morty is going to keep going on adventures after this. He is going to laugh sometimes. He is going to be scared sometimes. He is going to have moments of real joy. But there is a thin film over all of it now. A quiet, sad thing. A boy who knows what is in the backyard. A boy who learned very young that you can hurt people just by trying to be liked. A boy who buried his own body and then went to school the next day. It would be nice to think the worst thing that could happen to a 14-year-old is losing the girl he likes. The show is not that kind of show. The show is the kind of show where the love potion ends the world and the boy ends up sleeping 10 feet away from his own grave. Before we move on, if you're enjoying this analysis, please consider subscribing. It helps the channel tremendously. And the funny part, the really cold, dark, terrible funny part, is that this is only Morty's first taste of what it feels like to lose somebody he loves to one of his grandpa's mistakes. Because somewhere down the road, in an episode that looks like a romantic comedy, Morty is going to fall in love with a girl in a way that feels real, properly real. Not a love potion, not a crush, the real thing. And then he is going to lose her too. Section 3, The Girl Outside the Coffee Shop. The episode is called The Vat of Acid episode. It is the 8th episode of the 4th season. It won an Emmy, which is one of the biggest awards a show can win. And the part everybody remembers from it is a piece of the episode that has no dialogue at all. No words, just music, just pictures. And by the end of those pictures, a lot of grown adults watching at home are sitting in silence on their couches with something hurting in their chest that they cannot quite name. The setup is simple. Rick and Morty have just finished an adventure that ends with them hiding inside a vat of fake acid. Rick made the fake acid himself. It looks real, it bubbles, it glows green. The idea is that if bad guys come after you, you jump into the vat, they think you melted, and they walk away. Morty thinks this is one of the dumbest ideas his grandpa has ever come up with. He says so. He yells about it the whole car ride home. He says it is lazy. He says it has too many problems. He says it would never work. Rick gets defensive. Rick gets mean. Rick says, fine, what would Morty like to invent instead? And Morty asks for something he has wanted forever. He asks for a remote that has a save point button, like in a video game. Push a button now, live your life. If something goes wrong later, push the button again and zap back to the moment you saved. Try again, get a redo, erase the mistake, live the better version. Rick rolls his eyes. He says it is a stupid idea. Morty pushes. Rick caves. He goes into the garage. He builds it. He hands Morty the remote. He warns Morty not to use it. Then Morty walks away with it, and the music starts up and the world opens. This is where the magic happens. Morty uses the remote at school first. He pulls his teacher's pants down. He hits the button. He pops back to before he did it. Nobody remembers. He does it again. He laughs. He pulls fire alarms. He hits the button. He pops back. He uses it to talk to his crush, Jessica. He says something dorky. He hits the button. He pops back. He tries a different opening line. Smoother this time. She giggles. He glows. He hits the button anyway, just for fun, because he can. Then one day, he saves before walking past a coffee shop. There is a girl standing outside. She has dark hair. She is taller than him. She wears glasses. She has a sweet face. She is alone, holding a drink, looking up at the sky. Morty walks past her. He stops. He looks. He goes back. He says something to her. She turns. She smiles. They start talking. The clip is short. It cuts away. The music keeps going. The next clip shows them sitting at a table together. Then the next shows them on a bench. Then the next shows them laughing at something on her phone. Then the next shows them holding hands. The whole thing is happening to a slow song that builds and builds. There is no dialogue. There are no jokes. There are no aliens. There is just a boy and a girl falling in love in a way that feels nothing like the cartoon they live in. The scenes keep going. They meet each other's families. They go to the movies. They have a fight in a parking lot. She walks away. He runs after her. They sit on a curb. They make up. They cry. They hug. They kiss in the rain. They go to a museum. They play with a dog at the park. They lie in the grass and look at at clouds. Months go by, maybe a year. The remote sits in Morty's pocket the whole time. He never uses it, not once, because nothing is going wrong, because there is nothing to undo, because for the first time in his entire life, things are good, and he wants them to stay exactly as they are. The two of them are happy. That is the thing the episode does that no other episode of this show has ever really done. It lets Morty be happy, not nervous, not scared, not getting yelled at, not running for his life, just happy, with a person who likes him back, with a person who looks at him the way he always wanted Jessica to look at him. Then Morty buys her plane tickets, a surprise trip, something romantic. They get on the plane goes up, something goes wrong in the air. The plane shakes, people scream, the plane crashes hard. The crash drops them in the mountains, snow everywhere, freezing cold. A few people are alive, most are not. Morty wakes up in the wreckage. He looks for the girl. He finds her. She is okay. They hold each other, they cry. Days pass. The food runs out. The cold is unbearable. They are not getting rescued. The few other people who survived are getting weaker. The group tries to eat shoes. Then they make a decision that nobody wants to make. They eat the bodies of the people who died in the crash. They have to. It is the only way to live a little longer. Morty does it. The girl does it. They sit in the snow with blood on their faces and they hold hands. At one point, Morty gets so cold and so tired and so broken that he tries to kill himself. He stabs himself in the gut with a sharp piece of metal. The girl sees. She rushes over. She is furious. Then she is sobbing. She holds his face. She tells him not to leave her. She begs him. He looks at her. Something in him wakes up. He decides to fight. He decides to try. He remembers the remote in his backpack. The backpack is in the back half of the plane. He has to walk for hours through a blizzard to get to it. He goes anyway. He limps through the snow. He bleeds. He freezes. He finally finds the backpack. He finds the remote. He has the button right there. He can press it. He can erase the entire crash. He can erase the cannibalism. He can erase the cold. He can erase the stabbing. He can pop back to before he ever met her. He can wipe all of it away in 1 second. He thinks about it. He stares at the button. He almost presses it. Then he stops. Because if he presses the button, he loses her too. He goes back to before the coffee shop, before her smile, before the bench, before the rain. He erases the relationship along with the pain, and he cannot do it. He cannot give her up. He chooses her over the redo. He puts the remote down. He grabs his phone instead. He calls for help. He stays. He suffers, but he keeps her. Help comes. A rescue team finds them. They are saved. They are brought home. Doctors fix their wounds. The local news puts them on television. They are reunited with their families. They are heroes. They are alive. They are still together. They are still in love. They sit on the couch in Morty's living room and laugh and lean into each other. And then Jerry walks in. Jerry sees the remote on the coffee table. Jerry thinks it is the remote for the television. He picks it up. He starts pushing buttons. Morty turns. Morty sees what is happening. Morty screams. He lunges across the room. It is too late. A button gets pressed. Morty zaps back to the moment right before he met her. He is standing on the sidewalk. The coffee shop is right there. The girl is right there. She is looking up at the sky with her drink. He freezes. He runs over. He tries to say the right thing. He tries to do it again, to start over, to rebuild what he just lost. The words come out wrong. He fumbles. He stutters. She does not respond the way she did the first time. She gives him a confused look. She walks away. Months gone. A year gone. A whole love story gone. The plane crash. The mountains. The blood. The promise. All of it gone. None of it ever happened. None of it can ever happen again. He stands on the sidewalk. He watches her go. She does not know him. She never knew him. Morty walks home in silence. This alone would already be one of the saddest things the show has ever done. A boy loses the only girl who ever truly loved him because his clueless dad grabbed the wrong remote. But the episode is not finished. The episode is not even close to finished. Because Rick is angry that Morty made fun of his vat of acid idea. And Rick is petty. Rick reveals that the remote was never actually a save point. It was something else. Every time Morty pressed the button, the remote did not rewind time. It jumped Morty into a brand new world, a new copy of Earth. And in each of those new worlds, there was already a Morty living there. And Morty's arrival pushed the original Morty out, killed him, replaced him. Which means every redo Morty has ever done, every prank, every flirt with Jessica, every save point, ended with a dead boy in his place. Hundreds of them, maybe thousands. Morty has been murdering himself over and over without knowing it. The mountains were real. The plane crash was real. The girl was real, just not in the world he is currently standing in. The girl he loved is alive in another world, with another Morty's grave somewhere. Morty falls to his knees. He is sick. He cannot breathe. He has been a killer the entire time, and he did not know. Rick smirks. He says he can fix it. He merges all the worlds back together. Every consequence Morty escaped now comes flooding into one timeline. The police he ran from, him, the neighborhoods he wronged, the people he hurt, they all show up at the same time. A mob forms outside the house. They want Morty. Rick has only one way out, a vat of fake acid. The exact thing Morty made fun of at the start of the episode. The bit Morty said was lazy. Rick says jump in. Morty argues. Rick yells. Morty looks at the crowd. He has no choice. He climbs in. He drops down into the green fake acid. He hides at the bottom. He floats fake bones up to the top so the crowd thinks he melted. And in that exact moment, the girl shows up. The merging of the worlds brought her memories back. She remembers him. She remembers the coffee shop. She remembers the mountains. She remembers the love. She came to find him. She pushes through the crowd. She gets to the front, and she sees Morty go under the green acid. She sees the bones float up. She thinks she just watched the boy she loves dissolve in front of her. She drops to her knees. She screams. She cries. Then she runs. She runs from the house, broken, certain that Morty just died in front of her. Morty stays under the surface of the fake acid. He never sees her. He never knows she was there. He never knows she came back. He pulls himself out of the vat once everyone is gone. He goes inside. He goes to his room. He shuts the door. The episode ends. What happened to Morty in that episode is the kind of thing that does not heal. He had the closest thing to real love he was ever going to get. He fought for it. He suffered for it. He bled in the snow for it. He chose it over a magic button that would have erased all the pain. And in the end, none of his bravery mattered. A goofy dad with bad remote control instincts erased the whole thing. And Morty did not even get to say goodbye. The girl thinks he is dead. The world has moved on. There is no body to bury. There is no funeral to attend. There is just a kid in his room holding the memory of a person who does not remember him anymore. You see why this show is heavy now. You see why these things stack up. A boy who once had to bury his own body in a backyard now also has to grieve a girl who is alive somewhere and does not know his name. And he has to keep going. He has to wake up tomorrow. He has to eat breakfast. He has to go to school. He has to pretend everything is normal. He has been pretending for years. He is getting good at it. Before we move on, if you're enjoying this analysis, please consider subscribing. It helps the channel tremendously. But Morty is not the only one in this house who has tried to find someone who really sees him. There is another person in the family who has loved someone deeply and lost them in a way that nearly broke him for good. And the person who lost them is the same man who built the remote that took Morty's girl away. Section 4. The night Rick tried to die. The episode is called Autoerotic Assimilation. It is the third episode of the second season. On the surface, it looks like one of the goofier episodes of the show. There are silly jokes, there are weird aliens, there is a planet full of people being controlled by a single brain. Rick has a wild party. The grandkids fight about politics. The whole thing seems like a regular adventure with a regular ending. Then, the last few minutes happen. And the last few minutes of this episode are some of the most painful minutes the show has ever made. They are quiet, they are slow, they have no jokes in them, they have almost no words. And by the end of them, the version of Rick that the audience thought they knew, the loud one, the proud one, the one who acts like he is bigger than the universe itself, is on the floor of his garage, alone, with a death ray pointed at his own head. But to understand how he ended up there, you have to back up. Rick has an ex. The ex is not human. The ex is not even a person in the normal sense of the word. The ex is named Unity. Unity is a creature that can take over the minds and bodies of every living being on a planet. It can be inside 1,000 people at once. It can speak through any of them. It can look at you out of any pair of eyes at once. It can be a man, a woman, an old person, a child, all in the same conversation. It is one brain spread across millions of bodies, and it used to date Rick. How that worked is the show's business. The point is, they had something a long time ago, and it ended, and neither of them ever really got over it. At the start of the episode, Rick is flying through space with Morty and Summer when they pick up a distress signal. They follow it. They board a strange ship. The people on board beg them for help. They say a hive mind has been taking them over. They say the hive mind is evil. Then Unity reveals itself, mid-sentence, by taking over the bodies of the people speaking. And Rick lights up. He sees who it is. He smiles in a way he almost never smiles. And just like that, the two of them are back together. Unity takes Rick down to the planet it controls. It throws him a party that no human could ever throw, because Unity is everyone on the planet. Unity can be 100 people dancing for Rick at once. Unity can be a stadium of fans cheering for Rick at once. Unity can be anybody Rick wants. So they party, they drink, they take drugs, they do anything they can think of. They lose themselves in each other. They become a tornado of bad decisions. And for the first time in a long time, Rick looks like he is having a real, full, deep kind of joy. But while this is going on, the grandkids are watching. Morty and Summer are with Unity for parts of it. They see something something Rick does not see. They see that Unity is starting to slip. They see that the citizens of the planet are starting to wake up. They see that Unity cannot hold it together when it is around Rick, because Rick pulls Unity into wildness. Rick pulls Unity into chaos. Rick is fun, and Rick is exciting, and Rick is also poison. And the longer Unity stays with Rick, the worse Unity gets at being Unity. At some point, Summer and Morty get cornered. The citizens start a fight. People die. Unity has to scramble to save them. The grandkids are shaken. They are quiet. They tell Rick they want to go home. Rick says, fine, they can go home, but he is staying. He wants to keep the party going. He is not done. Summer says something to him before she leaves. She tells him that he is not good for Unity. She tells him that he is hurting it. She tells him to think about that. He waves her off. The grandkids leave. Rick stays. He waits for Unity to come back. He waits in a kind of giddy mood. He is excited. He is alone in a room. He looks around. He looks at himself in the mirror. He waits and waits, and then he goes looking, and he realizes the planet is empty. There is no one in any of the houses. There is no one on any of the streets. The whole city is silent. Unity is gone. Every person Unity was inside has been let go. The bodies are standing around blank, like puppets with the strings cut, and every wall in every building has a message written on it. The messages are for him. The messages say goodbye. Unity has left him a letter. It is written everywhere at once, because Unity can write with a million hands at the same time. The letter is long. The letter is gentle. The letter is honest. Unity tells Rick that it loves him. Unity tells Rick that the time they spent together was good. Unity tells Rick that they cannot be together, because being with him does something to it that it cannot survive. Unity says, in its own way, that when it is with him, it loses itself and becomes part of him. It says he does what Unity does, but better and without trying. It says he turns everyone around him into smaller versions of himself. It says that the two of them break each other. Then Unity says one more thing. Unity says it has to go far away from him to ever be itself again. And Unity says it will not be coming back. Rick stands in the empty city. He reads the message. He says nothing. The camera does not push in on his face. The music does not swell. The show does not tell you how to feel. It just lets him stand there. He goes home. He gets home and he walks past Beth without really seeing her. Beth is angry. Beth is in the middle of one of her fights with Jerry. She tries to corner Rick in the garage to ask him about something. She is fired up. She wants a fight. Normally, Rick would crush her in a fight like this. Normally, Rick would say something so cutting that the conversation would end in one line. Tonight, he does not even try. He just nods. He just agrees with whatever she says. He just lets her win. He walks past her. He goes into the garage. He closes the door. Beth looks at the closed door for a second. Something is off. She knows something is off. She does not chase it. She walks away. Inside the garage, Rick sets up the machine. It is a death ray. It looks like a long tube on a stand. It points at a chair. The way it works is that you sit in the chair, you wait, and the tube fires a beam, and the beam vaporizes whatever is in the chair. There is nothing left after. No body, no mess, nothing to clean up. He has built it himself. It is not a panic invention. It has been sitting somewhere, ready to go, just in case. Before he sits in the chair himself, he does one more thing. He has been keeping a creature in a freezer in the back of the garage. The creature is wrapped up and frozen. He pulls it out. He thaws it. The creature looks like one of the lumpy monsters from the destroyed Earth. A small one, crying, sick, in pain. It does not say anything. It cannot. It just looks at him. Rick looks back at it. He looks at it for a long time, and then, very gently, he points the death ray at it. He whispers something soft to it. He fires. The creature is gone. He has put it out of its misery, the kind way, before going through with the rest. Now it is his turn. He sits in the chair. He sets the timer. The machine is going to fire on him in a few seconds. He has done this on purpose. He has chosen this. The smartest man in the universe has decided that being alive is not worth the cost anymore. The song in the background is called Do You Feel It? It is a soft, sad, slow song with a woman's voice in it. It has been playing for a while. It has been playing quietly the whole time he has been setting all of this up. So quietly that the first time you watch this, you might not even register it as happening. You might think the show is about to cut to commercial. You might think Rick is just being weird in the garage. The timer ticks down. Rick passes out before the timer finishes. He is so drunk, so wrecked, so worn down, so deep in the bottom of his own pit that his body just gives up before the laser fires. His head drops onto the workbench. He slumps in the chair. The death ray buzzes. The death ray sputters. It does not fire properly. The mechanism waits for him to be sitting upright. He is not. The machine, the one he built to kill him, does not kill him. It fails. Then the camera does something cold. The camera pulls back. The camera stays on him for a long time. The song keeps playing. The lighting in the garage shifts. Morning comes through the window, then noon, then evening, then morning again. A whole night passes, a whole day passes. The seasons of the day come and go, and Rick stays in the chair, slumped, alive, alone. No one comes in. No one looks for him. Beth does not come in. Morty does not come in. Summer does not come in. The garage door stays shut. Nobody in the house has any idea that the smartest man in the universe almost ended himself a few feet away from where they are eating their cereal. He just stays there for a long time. Outside the window, Jerry, the son-in-law that Rick hates, is happily using a weed whacker in the driveway. Jerry is humming. Jerry is in a good mood. The episode ends with Jerry singing, with the morning sun rising, with Rick still slumped over in the failed death chair. The whole house pretending the night did not happen because the house never noticed it happened. And then the credits roll. What makes this scene one of the heaviest things the show has ever done is everything that does not happen in it. Nobody finds him. Nobody hugs him. Nobody saves him. The show does not turn his pain into a lesson. The show does not have him wake up the next day with a new outlook on life. The show does not give him a friend who notices and helps him through it. The show does not even let him die. It just leaves him there, suspended in the worst moment of his life, while the rest of the world rolls past the window like nothing is happening. Because as far as the rest of the world knows, nothing is happening. Rick is in the garage. Rick is always in the garage. Rick will come out when he comes out. The thing about Unity is that Unity was right. Unity was right that they were poisoned together. Unity was right that being with Rick was costing it the thing that made it itself. Unity made the smart choice. Unity left. And the smart choice still broke them both. Because somewhere on a planet far away, Unity is probably crying through 1,000 mouths at once. And somewhere in a garage on Earth, Rick is doing it through one. The show does not ever really revisit this scene. There is no episode later where Rick processes it. There is no episode later where he talks about it with anyone. He never tells Beth. He never tells Morty. He never tells Summer. He never tells the therapist when he finally meets her years later. He carries it. He folds it up and puts it under everything else. The next episode starts. He is back to being loud Rick. He is back to being mean Rick. He is back to being the Rick the family knows. But you saw him in the chair. You know who he really is now. Every time he yells, every time he drinks, every time he picks a fight with his son-in-law over nothing, every time he runs off on an adventure he does not really want to be on, you can see the chair under it. The chair is always under it. The chair has not gone anywhere. The chair is the floor he is standing on. This is the man at the breakfast table. This is the man the kids look up to. This is the grandpa. Before we move on, if you're enjoying this analysis, please consider subscribing. It helps the channel tremendously. And Rick is not the only one in this story who has lost someone who shaped them. Because there is another character in the show who Rick built his whole young life around. A friend who fought beside him. A friend who saw him before he ever became the version of himself that drinks all day. A friend who, at his own wedding, is about to take a bullet in front of Rick's eyes. Section 5. The wedding that ended everything. Rick has one real friend. Just one. In a life full of strangers and enemies and people who use him and people he uses, there is one person Rick has stood beside, fought beside, bled beside, and trusted with the parts of himself he never shows anyone else. The friend's name is Birdperson. Birdperson is exactly what the name sounds like. He is half man, half bird. He has feathers on his head. He has wings folded against his back. He has the body of a man and the face of someone wise and tired. He speaks slowly. He speaks honestly. He never lies. He never jokes. He looks at the world with the calm of someone who has fought too many wars to be surprised by anything anymore. Rick and Birdperson met a long time ago, decades before the show starts. The two of them and another friend named Squanchy were part of a war, a real war, against a giant space government called the Galactic Federation. They fought side by side in battles most people on Earth could not even imagine. They lost friends, they saw horrible things, they held each other up. The bond between them is the kind of bond you only get when you have stayed alive together inside something that should have killed both of you. The very first time Birdperson appears in the show, in the first season, he tells Morty something quiet. He tells Morty that Rick has a phrase he says all the time. The phrase sounds silly. Rick yells it out when he is being cheerful. Rick yells it out when he is being loud. The phrase is nonsense words. Birdperson tells Morty what it actually means in his own language. The phrase means, "I am in great pain. Please help me." Rick has been screaming for help for years. Every time he is the loudest. Every time he sounds the happiest. He is asking somebody to notice. nobody has ever noticed, except Birdperson. Birdperson noticed. Birdperson always knew. That is the relationship. That is the foundation. So when an episode comes along that is named after Birdperson's wedding, you know it is going to matter. The episode is called The Wedding Squanchers. It is the very last episode of the second season. It airs in 2015. And by the time the credits roll, the show is never going to be the same again. The setup is simple at first. Birdperson is getting married. The bride is a girl named Tammy. Morty met her at a house party in the first season. She is human, she is blonde, she is young, she is friendly. Everyone in the family is invited to the wedding. The wedding is on a faraway planet. The whole Smith family suits up and goes. Rick does not want to be there. Rick complains the whole way. Rick keeps saying weddings are basically funerals with cake. That line will become important very, very soon. When they arrive, the planet is beautiful. There are flowers. There is music. There are guests from every corner of space. Birdperson stands at the front looking proud. Tammy stands next to him looking radiant. They say their vows. They speak in the way people speak when they are about to start the rest of their lives. Tammy promises to be his until his death. He promises to be hers until his death. The wedding is happening. It is real. It is sweet. Then comes the reception. People are eating. People are drinking. People are laughing. Rick gets pulled into giving a speech for the groom. He stumbles through it. He hates speaking in public. He hates weddings. He hates feelings. But somewhere in the middle of his bad, drunk, rambling toast, he says something true. He looks at Birdperson. He says something kind, something close to love. Then Tammy stands up, and Tammy says she has an announcement. She says she is not who everybody thinks she is. She says she has been working for the Galactic Federation this whole time. She says she has been a spy. She says her relationship with Birdperson was never real. She says it was a long, careful operation to gather every enemy of the Federation into one room. She is talking about this room. She is talking about right now. The doors slam open. Soldiers pour in from every direction. The wedding becomes a battle in 3 seconds flat. Guns out. Laser fire everywhere. Guests scrambling for cover. Tables flipped. Cake on the floor. And Tammy turns. And Tammy looks at her new husband. And she pulls out a gun. And she shoots him. The shots hit Birdperson in the chest. He stumbles back. He looks down. He looks confused. He has just married this woman. He has just promised her his life. He stares at the holes in his body. He stares at her. And then he falls. Rick screams. Not a cool scream. Not a movie scream. A real one. A loud, broken, terrible sound. He shouts his friend's name. He runs at the body. The shooting is still happening all around him. He does not care. He does not flinch. He just runs to his fallen friend. Soldiers are everywhere. Tammy points her gun at Rick now. Rick has no time. He has to get out. He fights. He runs. He gets pulled away. His best friend, the only person who ever really saw him, is lying dead on the floor of his own wedding. Squanchy, the other old friend from the war, holds off the soldiers so the family can escape. He stays behind. He fights an entire room full of soldiers by himself to give Rick and the kids time to run. The last time anyone sees him, he is roaring at a wave of guns. He looks finished. Everyone assumes he died too. Two best friends. Two people Rick has known since he was young. Both gone in one afternoon. At a wedding that was supposed to be the happiest day of his oldest friend's life, the family runs. They escape through a portal. They land far away. The episode could have ended there. It does not. What follows is worse. The family ends up on a tiny planet, a small, empty world Rick has picked at random. They sit there, trying to figure out what to do. The Galactic Federation has put a price on Rick's head. They cannot go home. Earth is being searched by Federation soldiers. The Smiths are stuck. The mood is heavy. The kids are scared. Beth is scared. Jerry is scared in the way Jerry is always scared. Rick goes off to look at something away from the family. While he is gone, the family argues. Jerry, who has hated Rick since the day he met him, finally says what he has been holding in. Jerry says they should turn Rick in. Jerry says Rick is the reason they are all going to die. Jerry says Rick has never cared about any of them, and they should not sacrifice their whole lives for him. Beth refuses. Beth gets angry. Beth says she will never give up her father. Summer agrees. Summer says you do not love someone hoping for a reward. Morty agrees. Morty says you stay loyal to your family no matter what it costs you. The kids and Beth refuse to abandon Rick. They choose him. Even though he might end their lives, even though he might ruin everything, they pick him. Rick is listening to all of this from somewhere below the floor. He hears Jerry give him up. He hears Beth fight to keep him. He hears his grandchildren swear they will stay loyal to him no matter what, and whatever he had left breaks. Because Rick can handle being hated. Rick has spent years training himself to be a person who is hated. Rick has built his whole personality around being someone who deserves to be hated. What he cannot handle, what he has never been able to handle, is being loved. love. Being loved means he has to be worthy of it. Being loved means he has to do something for the people who love him. Being loved means he cannot just sit there and rot. He climbs out of the hole. He lies to the family. He tells them he is going to go buy ice cream. He gets in his ship. He leaves the tiny planet. He calls the Galactic Federation. He gives himself up. He tells them where he is. He tells them they can have him on one condition. They have to leave his family alone. They have to take him to the worst prison they have. They have to let his daughter and his grandchildren go home and live normal lives. The Federation agrees. They come and get him. They handcuff him. They walk him onto a ship. He does not fight. He does not say anything. He just goes. The last few minutes of the episode are something the show has rarely done before or since. They are quiet. They are slow. They have almost no dialogue. They have just music. And the music is a slow piano cover of the song Hurt, the same song Johnny Cash made famous near the end of his life. A song about pain, a song about regret, a song about staring at the ruins of your own life and asking what the point of all of it was. The song plays. Rick is taken into a giant alien prison. He is processed. They take his belongings. They take his coat. He walks down a long hall with hundreds of other prisoners, aliens of every kind, killers, thieves, beasts in chains. He keeps walking. The camera shows the size of the prison. He is going to be in here forever. Meanwhile, on Earth, the family is brought home. The Federation has occupied the planet. Earth is now under alien rule. Aliens are everywhere. The shops have alien customers. The streets have alien cars. The sky has alien ships. Jerry, who has been begging for a job for years, finally gets one. The Federation assigns him a desk job. He sits at the desk in a tiny office in a building full of aliens. He looks miserable. He looks small. He got what he wanted, and it has destroyed him. Beth walks through the new alien Earth with the kids. She looks lost. She looks empty. And then the camera goes back to Rick. Rick is sitting at a bar in the prison. He is alone. He is staring at a small photograph in his hand. The photograph is old. It is from his younger days. In the photo, 3 friends are standing together, smiling, drinking, alive. Squanchy on one side, Birdperson on the other, Rick in the middle. He looks at the photo for a long time, then he drops it. The photo falls to the floor of the bar. The song hits its loudest note. The episode ends. That is the season finale. The audience did not see it coming. The audience was used to Rick winning. The audience was used to Rick laughing at the end. The audience was used to a tidy little adventure that wraps up in 20 minutes. This was not that. This was a man losing his best friend in front of him, watching his other best friend get swallowed by an army, turning himself in to save the only family he has left, and ending up in a cage so deep nobody will ever find him. The thing that makes this an actual tragedy, not just a sad ending, is the layers under it. Years later, in a completely different episode, the show reveals something quiet about Birdperson and Rick. It reveals that Rick had feelings for Birdperson he never told anyone about. Real feelings. The kind you do not joke about. In their war days together, at a battle called Blood Ridge, Rick tried to tell Birdperson what he felt. Rick opened his mouth. Rick said the thing. He asked Birdperson to come travel the universe with him forever. Just the two of them. Birdperson said no. Birdperson stayed where he was. Rick left. The grumpy mood Rick was in at the wedding, the one everybody just thought was Rick being Rick, was not really about the wedding being a wedding. It was about Rick watching the only person he had ever truly loved romantically marry someone who was about to murder him. Rick was sitting in the chairs at that ceremony, drunk, miserable, watching the man he had loved years ago promise himself to a woman Rick already did not trust. And then his worst fear about her came true in front of him, and he had to watch it, and he had to scream and run. He had loved Birdperson. He had lost Diane and Beth. He had lost Unity, and now he had to add Birdperson to the list. Then Squanchy, the friend who had stayed behind to give him time to escape, and then he had to give up his own freedom to save the daughter and the grandchildren he has been trying not to love this whole time. Because every single time he loves something, the universe takes it from him. He has lost everyone he has ever loved. He sits in the cell at the end of the episode. He has nothing left. He drops the photo on the floor. He does not pick it back up. That is where he is at the start of the next season. That is the man waiting in the cell. That is the man who has to claw his way out and try to be a grandpa again. That is the man who walks back into the house months later and pretends nothing happened. But underneath all of it, in the deepest part of him, the part the show does not show very often, Rick has now lost a wife, a daughter, a lover who was a planet, a best friend who was a bird, another best friend who was something else entirely, and his own freedom, all in the span of a single year of his life. The next season picks up from here. The next season starts with him gone. Before we move on, if you're enjoying this analysis, please consider subscribing. It helps the channel tremendously. And while Rick rots in that cell, the people who love him are about to find out what it is like to live in a house with empty chairs. Because the family is not done losing people either. Somewhere in a room that should be safe, a friend who has always been there, a friend they all trusted, is about to take a bullet from one of their own. And the person pulling the trigger is going to be the person who loves him the most. Section 6. The friend she could not trust. There is a man named Mr. Poopy Butthole. That is his name. That is the only name he has ever had. He is small. He is yellow. He has a tall head shaped a little like an egg. He wears a sweater vest most of the time. He has a soft voice. He has a gentle laugh. He is one of the kindest people in the entire show. He shows up one day in the second season, in an episode called Total Recall. He shows up like he has always been there. He is sitting at the dinner table. He is eating with the family. He is laughing at one of Beth's jokes. He calls Rick by his name. Rick calls him by his name. They are friends. Old friends. The kind of friend you do not have to introduce because everyone already knows who they are. Everyone has known him for years. The audience has never seen him before in their lives. That is the joke at the start of the episode. The audience sits there confused, wondering who this little yellow man is and why everyone in the Smith family is acting like he has always been part of it. Slowly, it becomes clear that something is wrong. Other strange characters start showing up in the house too. An uncle, a cousin, a butler, a magical creature, a man who used to be married to Beth. Each new person walks in like they belong, like they have been there forever, and the family treats them like family. Rick figures it out fast. He pulls out a gun. He shoots one of the new characters. The body that hits the floor is not human. It is an alien, a wormy thing. He says these creatures are parasites. They are a species that survives by sneaking into people's lives and laying fake memories inside their heads. They do not feed on blood or food. They feed on belief. Every fake memory makes them stronger. Every time the family pictures their fake uncle at a barbecue, the fake uncle gets more real. Every time someone laughs at a fake cousin's joke, the fake cousin grows a little harder to kill. If the parasites are left alone long enough, they will outnumber the real family. They will outnumber the planet. And by the time anyone notices, the world will already belong to them. Rick locks the house down. Steel shutters slam over every window. Steel shutters slam over every door. Nobody is leaving. Nobody is coming in. The fake people inside are trapped with the real people inside. Everyone has to figure out who is who, or everyone is going to die. The family panics. They start asking each other questions. They start telling stories. Every time they tell a memory, the air gets thicker. The fake memories are working on everyone. The parasites are inside their heads, planting moments that never happened. The family does not even know which thoughts in their own minds are real anymore. They look at each other with terror. Mom, dad, sister, brother, grandpa, are any of you real? Am I real? Rick eventually figures out the trick. The parasites can only plant happy memories, warm ones, funny ones, loving ones. They cannot give anyone a memory that hurts. They cannot plant a moment of cruelty. They cannot plant an embarrassing moment. They cannot plant pain. So if you can think of one truly miserable moment with a person, one real ugly thing, then that person is real. If every memory you have of them is pleasant, then they are not. This is the rule. This is the test. Everyone in the house runs through their memories. The fake people get shot one by one as the real people realize they have no bad memories of them. Beth's pretend dead husband, Jerry's pretend brother, a whole crowd of cheerful imaginary friends. They drop one by one. Their bodies turn back into the worm aliens as they hit the floor. Pretty soon, the only people left in the room are the real Smith family. And Mr. Poopy Butthole. He is sitting on the couch. He looks worried. He looks small. He looks scared, the way all of them look scared. He is the last one, and the test makes him a problem. Because nobody in the family can think of a bad memory of him. Nobody can think of a time he did something mean. Nobody can think of an argument with him. Nobody can think of a time he made anyone cry. Every single thought of him is warm. Every single one. By the rule, that means he is fake. By the rule, that means he is the last parasite. Beth picks up one of Rick's guns. She looks at him across the room. She is shaking. Her eyes are wet. She lifts the gun. Mr. Poopy Butthole sees her lift it. His face changes. He looks afraid in a tiny, polite way. He starts to say something. He does not get to finish. She shoots. The blast hits him in the chest. He flies across the room. He slams into the wall. He slides down. He leaves a red streak of blood on the wall behind him. A long, slow, real streak. He hits the floor in a small heap. He is barely breathing. He is gurgling. He is reaching for his own chest with one tiny yellow hand. The body does not turn into a worm. It stays a man. Mr. Poopy Butthole was real. Beth realizes what she has done. The gun drops from her hands. The whole family freezes. Nobody can move. Nobody can speak. Mr. Poopy Butthole is on the floor, bleeding bleeding, dying maybe. Real this whole time. Real the whole episode. And the woman who has loved him the most just shot him in the chest because she could not remember a single bad thing he had ever done. The reason she could not remember a bad thing he had ever done is because there was no bad thing. He had never done one. He had been a good friend the whole time. He had been the gentlest, sweetest, most decent presence in their lives. He had never raised his voice. He had never said a cruel thing. He had never let anyone down. He had been pure, simple kindness, just sitting on the couch with them year after year, asking how they were doing, sharing meals, listening when they needed to talk. And his reward for being good was that the woman he loved decided he was a monster. That is the gut punch of the episode. The rule the family used to survive only worked because they were used to people being cruel. The parasites could not plant bad memories because the parasites assumed that anything pleasant was bait. So the only way to be real in the Smith house was to have hurt someone. The only way to prove you belong is to have left a scar. Mr. Poopy Butthole never left a scar, so he had to die. Beth runs out of the room. She cannot look at him. She goes into the kitchen. She is sobbing. She is shaking. She grabs a wine glass. She pours herself a drink. She pours it badly. The wine spills over the side of the glass and onto the counter. Her hands cannot hold steady. She drinks anyway. She drinks the whole glass in one go. She pours another. The blood on the wall in the living room is visible from the kitchen doorway. She does not turn around. The episode is supposed to be over here. The credits start, but then the show does something cruel. After the credits, there is one more scene. The scene takes place sometime later. We are in a hospital. There is a man in a hospital bed. He is hooked up to machines. He has bandages around his chest. He is being helped by a nurse. He is trying to walk again. He is moving slowly. Each step looks painful. He is alive. He survived the shot, but just barely, and he will not be the same. It is Mr. Poopy Butthole. He is trying to recover. The nurse is helping him stand up. He looks down at his own little body. He thinks about what happened. He looks at the camera. He speaks softly. He tells the nurse that he does not want to see the Smiths right now. He tells the nurse to please tell Beth, when she asks, that he is sorry. He is sorry that she did not have any bad memories of him. He is sorry that being a good friend to her made her think he was a fake. He says it like it is his fault. He says it like he should have been worse to her, so she would have known he was real. He goes back to trying to walk. The credits roll, for real this time. That should be where the story of Mr. Poopy Butthole ends. A bad mistake, a wounded friend, a hospital scene. The whole thing chalked up to one bad day. A lesson learned. A family hugs it out, eventually, and life goes on. But the show does not let it end there. Every season after this, the show checks in on Mr. Poopy Butthole. Just a little. A few seconds here, a few seconds there. Each check-in shows him in a different stage of his life, and each stage gets worse. The first time, he is all right. He is married now. He has a wife. He is happy. He has a son. He shows the audience a picture. He has built a small life. He smiles. He waves. The next time, things are shakier. He is a little thinner, a little tired. The smile is forced. The time after that, his wife has left him. She has taken the child. She is gone. The time after that, he has lost his job. The time after that, he is drinking too much, heavily, all the time. The time after that, his legs have been broken. He is in a wheelchair. He is alone. By the 7th season, there is a whole episode dedicated to him called How Poopy Got His Poop Back. He has hit rock bottom. He is high. He is drunk. He is bitter. He is living with the Smiths because he has nowhere else to go. He is buying drugs from strangers. The cheerful little man from the 2nd season has been ground down into someone barely holding on. He stands in the kitchen and looks at the camera and explains in a slurred voice what happened to his life. He says very clearly that everything started going wrong after Beth shot him. Everything. The wife who left, the kid who left, the job that fell apart, the drinking, the breakdown, the wheelchair. All of it started the moment a friend put a bullet in his chest because she could not believe a person could just be kind. Beth never really apologized. Beth never really did anything about it. Beth knew it had hurt him in the moment. Beth never knew it had ruined him. Mr. Poopy Butthole carried that bullet with him for years. The body healed. The trust did not. The reason this is one of the saddest stories the show has ever told is that the wound is invisible to almost everyone in it. The Smiths still call him a friend. The Smiths still invite him over. The Smiths still picture him as that sweet little yellow man on the couch. They do not see the broken person he became. They do not see the bottle in his hand. They do not see the empty apartment he goes home to. They do not see the wedding photos he stares at when he is alone at night. They have never asked how he is. Not really. They have never said sorry. Not really. They just kept living. The shooting was a moment in their day. It was the rest of his life. There is something terrible the show is saying with this. It is saying that being good to people is dangerous in a world where everyone is used to being treated badly. It is saying saying that if you only ever show somebody warmth, they will not know what to do with you when the room turns scary. It is saying that the people who love us are sometimes the ones with the gun, because they have learned not to trust anything that does not hurt. Mr. Poopy Butthole did not deserve any of this. He was just sweet. He was just gentle. He was just there. For that, he lost his marriage. For that, he lost his son. For that, he lost his job. For that, he lost his legs. For that, he lost his peace. For that, he lost his life in every way that matters, while still walking around inside it. He is still alive. Somewhere in this show. He is still trying to put himself back together. He is one of the longest, slowest tragedies the show has ever written, because his pain does not arrive in one big scene. It arrives in tiny scenes, scattered across years. One season he has a wife. The next season, he does not. One season he is on his feet. The next season, he is in a chair. The audience watches him fall in slow motion. He never really hates Beth for it. That might be the cruelest part. He still loves her. He still loves the whole family. He just cannot be near them the way he used to be. The trust is broken, deep underneath. He smiles when he sees them. He hugs them when he visits. He says nice things to the kids. And then he goes home, and the home is empty, because everyone he had has gone. This is what it looks like when somebody you love hurts you by accident and never really understands what they did. And life keeps going, and you keep going, and the wound does not close, ever. But you stop talking about it because there's no point. You just live with it. You just get older with the bullet still inside you, even after the doctors say it has been removed. Mr. Poopy Butthole is the proof in this show that being kind is not always enough. Sometimes you can do everything right and the world still finds a way to ruin you because you happen to be standing in the wrong room when the people who loved you got scared. He is also the proof of something else. He is the proof that not every tragedy in this show is loud. Not every tragedy involves a death ray or a portal or a bomb in a garage or a planet full of monsters. Some tragedies are very small. Some tragedies are one moment in a living room. Some tragedies are a single shot, and the rest of the damage is just years and years of quiet falling apart. Before we move on, if you're enjoying this analysis, please consider subscribing. It helps the channel tremendously. And as the family keeps living their lives, the kids keep getting older, and Morty starts noticing girls more, and somewhere out there, a brand new face is about to come flying into Morty's world. Someone bigger than Jessica, someone older than Jessica, someone with powers, someone with a mission, someone who is going to make Morty feel like he matters for the first time in his life, and then someone who is going to make him watch in horror as the love of his life turns into something he cannot recognize. Section 7, the superhero who loved him back. The episode is called A Rick Convenient Mort. It airs in the 5th season. It is the 3rd episode of the season. It is the one where Morty falls in love with a real adult superhero who falls in love with him back, and where the whole thing dies in front of his eyes in the span of one afternoon. It opens normal. Rick and Morty are walking out of a t-shirt store. They are arguing about something stupid. The sky goes dark above them. Rain starts falling. The rain is green. The rain burns. It is acid. People scream. Cars hiss as the rain eats through their paint. Morty's skin starts to smoke. Rick rolls his eyes. He calls it acid rain. He blames pollution. Then she shows up. She comes flying down out of the sky in a streak of light. She is tall. She has long flowing hair that looks like the wind itself. Her skin glows. She has a strong jaw and serious eyes. She is wearing a costume. She moves like someone who has been doing this for years. She lands in the middle of the burning street, and the rain stops the second she touches the ground. The clouds break apart. The sky goes blue again. People get up off the ground in shock. They cheer. They have been saved. Her name is Planetina. She is a superhero who protects the planet from people who hurt it. She fights factories that pollute. She fights companies that dump poison into the ocean. She fights men who set forests on fire. Anything that hurts the world, she shows up and stops. She is fierce. She is glowing. She is also kind. When she lands in the street, she is gentle with the people she just saved. She helps them up. She wipes the rain off a kid's face. Then she sees Rick toss a can on the ground. She turns. Her eyes flare. She is about to lecture Rick. Morty steps forward first. He picks up the can. He puts it in the recycling. He says it. He says recycling matters. He says it like he means it. He has never said anything like that before in his entire life. He is not even trying to flirt. He is just doing the right thing in front of her. She notices him. She really notices him. Morty looks up at her. She is taller than he is. She is older than he is. She is a literal superhero. She is glowing in the morning sun, and she is looking at him like he is somebody worth looking at. He fumbles. He stutters. He cannot believe she is paying attention. He invites her on a date. He does it so awkwardly Morty, it almost does not come out as words. She says yes. She flies away with him in her arms. That is the first 10 minutes. That is how fast the show moves you into this. The rest of the episode shows Morty and Planetina getting close. Not in a montage, not in a quick flash. In real, slow, awkward, sweet, real feeling scenes. They go on missions together. She stops a forest fire and he stands at the edge of it watching her work. They sit and talk after. They text. Morty wakes up to messages from her in the middle of the night. He cannot believe his luck. He laughs into his phone like a kid. He sends her flowers. She sends him back flowers. A whole giant arrangement grown by her in the shape of his face. He sits in his room staring at it. It is the most ridiculous and the most beautiful thing he has ever been given. Beth walks in and asks who they are from. Morty cannot stop smiling. He says they are from his girlfriend. He says it out loud. For the first time in his life, he has a girlfriend. A real one. Not a crush, not a fantasy, not a save point. A real person who likes him back. She comes to his window that night. She floats up to it. He opens it. They look at each other. They kiss. They go to bed together. Morty has never had this. Morty has never even gotten close to this. The boy who buried himself in the backyard a few seasons ago is now lying next to a glowing superhero who chose him. He looks at the ceiling at one point. He looks happier than he has ever looked. Beth, at the breakfast table the next morning, is worried. Beth is uncomfortable. Beth says some things that come off harsh. She says Planetina looks much older than Morty. She says she does not like the relationship. She says Morty should be dating someone closer to his own age. Morty snaps at her. He says something true. He says nobody in this family takes him seriously. He says nobody listens when he talks. He says everyone in this house acts like just listening to him is painful. He says Planetina is the first person he has ever met who looks at him like he is real. He says she is the first person who has ever made him feel like he fits in somewhere. He says he is not going to give that up just because his mom is uncomfortable. Beth goes quiet. Beth knows he is right. She says nothing back. Morty grabs his phone. He sees Planetina is working on something. He goes to her. He has to be near her. Here is where the episode quietly shifts. When Morty gets to her, he sees something he was not supposed to see. Planetina is not free. She has handlers. 4 young adults who carry magic rings. The 4 of them, all together, are the only way to summon her. They control when she comes. They control when she leaves. They control where she goes. They are her bosses. They have been her bosses for years. They were the kids in a cheesy old kid show about her, and now they have grown into mean, greedy adults who use her like an employee. They keep her away from the news. They keep her away from social media. They keep her tired. They keep her on schedule. They sell her image. They make money off her face. They yell at her when she tries to think for herself. She has been working for them, owned by them, since she was a child. Morty sees it. Morty is horrified. The 4 handlers are also, very clearly, planning to sell Planetina to a rich man on another planet who wants to own her completely. Morty overhears the plan. Morty does something he has never done before in his life. He picks up one of their own weapons. He turns it on them. He kills the handlers, all 4 of them. He does it quickly. He does it on purpose. He takes their rings. He smashes the rings. He sets her free. He thinks he is the hero. He thinks she will thank him. She does it first. She kisses him. She tells him she loves him. She has never been able to choose her own day before. She is free for the first time in her life. She is a glowing god of a person, finally allowed to look at the world with her own eyes. Without anyone telling her where to go, she looks at the world. She looks at it for a long time. She has spent years being kept away from the news, years being told only what her handlers wanted her to hear. Now, she sees everything. She sees what humans have done to the planet she has been built to protect. She sees the dying oceans. She sees the burning forests. She sees the factories. She sees the smoke. She sees the size of it, the whole, true size of it. The damage humans are doing every minute, all over the world, all the time. Something in her breaks. She flies off without warning. Morty calls after her. She does not look back. He chases. He follows. He finds her at a coal mine. She is glowing red now. Her hair is whipping wildly. Her eyes are full of rage. There are men there, working men, miners. They look up. They see her coming. They start backing away. She lands in front of them. The lead miner tries to talk to her. He is calm. He is reasonable. He says he understands her side. He says his people lost the vote on coal. He says the rules say his mine is legal. He says they have families. He says they have to feed their kids. He is not yelling. He is not threatening. He is asking her to be reasonable. He is asking her to find another way. She does not answer with words. She rises into the air. She raises her hands. She kills him. Then she kills the next one. Then she kills them all with her powers, with wind and fire and lightning. The mine collapses. The men inside it are burned. Men with families, men who were just at work, men who who would have gone home that night to wives and children, men whose only crime, in her eyes, was working at a mine. She kills every single one of them in front of Morty. Morty stands there frozen. He has seen a lot of things on Adventures with Rick. He has killed before, he has watched people die before, but this is different. This is not aliens, this is not monsters, this is regular human beings, dying for the regular human reason that they had to pay rent. And the person killing them is the girl he loves, the girl who loves him, the girl who a few hours ago was floating outside his window, kissing him in the moonlight. She turns to him after. She is glowing, she is breathing hard, she is proud. She thinks she has done something good. She thinks she has finally been able to act. She thinks Morty will understand. He stares at her. She tells him she did it for the planet. She tells him she did it for him. She tells him she did it because the world cannot wait any longer. Morty cannot speak. She flies them home. He goes inside. He goes to his room. He shuts the door. Later that night, she comes back to his window. She climbs in. She sits on his bed. She is softer now. The glow has dimmed. She knows something is wrong. She asks him what is going on. She asks him if he is angry. She asks him to talk to her. He talks. He tells her that he cannot do this anymore. He tells her that what she did at the mine was not okay. He tells her those men had lives. He tells her those men had children. She gets angry. She tells him he killed her handlers. She tells him he killed her family, basically. She tells him those 4 were her people, even if they were cruel to her, and that he ended them in one afternoon. She says he is being a hypocrite. She says the handlers wanted to sell her, while the miners were just doing their jobs. But in both cases, people died. He has no good answer. He tries to say it anyway. He says he did it to save her. He says he did it because they were going to take her. He says they were cruel. He says it is different. She begs him. She gets quieter. She gets smaller. She tells him she loves him. She tells him she has never had anyone like him. She tells him he is the first person who ever looked at her like a person and not a tool. She asks him to please not leave. She asks him to please understand. She is a god, glowing in a teenager's dark bedroom, asking the most powerless boy in the universe to please not break up with her. He shakes his head. He cannot do it. He says he is sorry. He says he loves her too. He says he has to. She cries. She really cries. Tears roll off her glowing face. Her voice cracks. She tells him fine. She tells him to forget her then. She tells him to have a nice life. She tells him she hopes he is happy with whatever boring world he goes back to. She flies out his window. She is gone. She never comes back. The show never brings her back. She has not appeared in any episode since. Not even a mention. Not even a cameo. She left through that window and the show let her stay gone. Morty sits on the edge of his bed. He stares at the wall. Beth walks in. She does not say anything mean. She does not say, "I told you so." She just sits down next to him. She puts her arm around him. He starts crying. Not a loud cry, a small one. The kind a kid does when he has lost something he was never supposed to have in the first place. She holds him. The flowers on his dresser, the big arrangement in the shape of his face that Planetina grew for him, start to wilt. The petals brown at the edges. The leaves curl. The whole giant gift starts to fall apart, slowly, in real time, while Beth holds him in her arms. The episode ends. The reason this is one of the saddest episodes the show ever made is that Morty did everything right. He stuck up for himself in front of his mom. He stood up for the person he loved. He freed her from people who were abusing her. He treated her like a real person. He gave her his whole heart, and he still lost her because the thing he did to save her changed her. The handlers had been holding her back from the truth of the world. The truth of the world was too big to handle in one moment. Morty unlocked the cage, and the thing inside the cage flew straight into hell. He blames himself a little. He should. He helped pull the trigger on her too. He freed her into a knowledge she was not ready for, and she went off the rails before he could catch her. The mine is on him too, in a quiet way, even though he did not kill anybody at the mine. The other layer, the one that does not get talked about, is what Morty learned this episode. He learned that being loved is not enough. He learned that being chosen is not enough. He learned that a person can love you and still do something so awful that you cannot stay. He learned that love does not stop pain. He learned that sometimes you have to leave someone who is willing to die for you, because what they are willing to die for is something you cannot accept. That is a hard lesson for a 14-year-old. That is a hard lesson for anybody. Most people learn it sometime in their 20s or 30s. Morty learned it in one afternoon in a coal mine, watching the only girl who ever truly loved him burn men alive. He still has the flowers in his room for a while, brown and shriveled, until somebody throws them out. There is a quiet thing that happens after this in the show. Morty stops trying as hard. Morty stops fighting for things as hard. Morty goes back to following Rick around. Morty goes back to being the grandson, the boy who for one episode, had a real adult relationship and a real adult heartbreak, folds himself back up into a kid again, because that is easier, because being a kid is the only thing left to him that does not hurt yet. Before we move on, if you're enjoying this analysis, please consider subscribing. It helps the channel tremendously. But there is one more story in this house that is even harder to hold than Morty losing Planetina. There is a story about a man living on his own private planet. A man with one private bathroom in one private spot that nobody else knows about. A man who never wants company. Until, one quiet morning, somebody he has never met before sits down on his toilet. Section 8. The Old Man and the Seat. The episode is called The Old Man and the Seat. It is the second episode of the 4th season. On the outside, the whole thing sounds like a joke. The whole story is about a toilet. A man and his special toilet. A friendship that starts over a toilet. A grief that ends over a toilet. The whole thing should be silly. It is silly sometimes. There are jokes. There is goofy talk. There is a moment where Rick literally goes to war with somebody over a bathroom. And then by the end of the episode, the smartest man in the universe is sitting alone in a place that nobody else has ever seen, looking out over a sunset on a planet only he knows about, with nobody to share it with, and you understand that you have just watched a story about the worst kind of loneliness. The kind that is so quiet you do not even know you have it. Here is the setup. Rick has a private toilet. It is not just a toilet in his house. It is not just a toilet in his garage. It is a toilet on its own planet. He found a planet that nobody else lives on. A beautiful, peaceful, empty planet. Open fields, a clean sky, soft wind. He built one small shed on this planet. Inside the shed is one toilet. Outside the shed is one of the most stunning views in the universe. A view of the sun going down over rolling hills. A view nobody on Earth has ever seen. Whenever he needs to use the bathroom, he steps through a portal. He sits on this toilet. He watches the sunset. He has the most peaceful moment of his day. Then he flushes. He steps back through the portal. Nobody knows. This is his secret place. This is his only secret place. It is the one part of his life where he is not loud. It is the one part of his life where he is not performing. It is the one part of his life that belongs only to him. He has hidden it from his family. He has hidden it from his friends. He has hidden it from the audience for years. He has never told anybody about it. The toilet is his. Then, one morning, he steps through the portal and somebody is sitting on it. He stops. He stares. He cannot believe what he is seeing. A man, a small frog-like man with a calm face in a button-up shirt, mid-bathroom break on Rick's toilet. The man looks up. He looks embarrassed. He looks gentle. He says hello. He says he is sorry. He flushes. He gets up. He apologizes again in his soft, quiet voice. He says he will see Rick around. Rick is fuming. The man's name is Tony. Tony is voiced by an actor named Jeffrey Wright in a slow, careful, sad voice. Tony is not aggressive. Tony is not threatening. Tony is not a villain. Tony is just a regular working man in the middle of the workday who somehow figured out where Rick's hidden bathroom planet was and started using it. Rick declares war. Rick goes to crazy lengths. He sets up cameras. He installs traps. He builds attack robots. He turns the peaceful, empty planet into a battlefield. He follows Tony to his office. He sits at Tony's desk. He stares Tony down in front of Tony's coworkers. He tells Tony to stop. He threatens Tony's life. He brings out weapons. He brings out portals. He brings out the full force of being Rick Sanchez. Tony does not really react. Tony just keeps coming back day after day, quietly, politely. He flushes when he is done. He never leaves a mess. He never says anything cruel. He is not trying to fight. He is just using the toilet. He has nowhere else he wants to use a toilet. He likes this one. He likes the view. He shrugs when Rick yells at him. He waves goodbye at the end of his bathroom break. He goes back to his job. Rick is going insane. Rick has never met anyone who refuses to be intimidated by him. He has met smart enemies, dangerous enemies, big enemies. He has not met someone who simply does not care. At one point, Rick traps Tony. He has Tony cornered in a small conference room. He brings out a thing that can kill him quickly. He stands across from Tony. Rick is breathing hard. He is angry. He is shaking. He looks like a man about to win. He asks Tony where he wants to die. Tony does not panic. He does not beg. He does not run. He looks Rick in the eye. He says he would like to be in this room. He says he has had bad days at this job, and dying here would feel right to him. He says it is fine. He says he is ready. Rick is taken aback. Rick asks why a person would just give up like that. Tony, in his soft, careful voice, says something that hits Rick like a slap. He says his wife is dead. He says she died a while back. He says since she died, he does not really care about much anymore. anymore. He says he comes to work because there is nothing else. He says he uses Rick's toilet because it is the one nice part of his day. He says the view is beautiful. He says very plainly that being alone is the hardest thing in the world. He says even nice things stop being nice when you have nobody to tell about them. He says he is a shy person. He says he is shy about using the bathroom around other people. He says Rick's toilet was the first one he had ever found that was private enough for him to be at peace. He says it was the first place he had felt comfortable since his wife passed. He says he is sorry he made Rick angry. Rick stares at him. Rick puts the weapon down. Rick does not say anything for a long time. He does not have a sharp comeback. He does not have a joke. He does not have his usual sneer. He just looks at Tony, and Tony just looks at Rick. These are two men who have built the same kind of life around the same kind of pain. Two men whose wives are gone. Two men who go to a private place every day to be alone. Two men who do not know how to ask anyone for help because asking for help would be admitting how empty they are. Two men sitting in a conference room with nothing else to say because everything they would say to each other has already been said in their own heads 1,000 times. Late at night, Rick gives Tony a portal back to his life. Rick lets him go. They share something. They do not call it friendship. Rick would never call it that. But something has happened. They have seen each other. The closest thing to a friend Rick has made in years was a man he was trying to murder 40 minutes ago. Rick goes home. He sits in his lab. He looks better. He looks lighter. He has someone. Even if that someone is a guy he is fighting over a toilet, he has someone. He gets a notification. Tony is using the toilet again. Rick smiles. He suits up. He goes to confront Tony. The little fight is going to keep happening. The little dance is going to continue. He has a person to be angry at. He has a person to chase. He has a person who comes back. He has, in some weird way, a relationship. He steps through the portal. The toilet is empty. There is a note pinned to the wall. The note is from somebody else, a coworker of Tony's. The note says Tony is dead. The note says Tony went on a mountain climbing trip on his time off. The note says Tony was an adventurous man. The note says Tony fell off a mountain and died. Just like that. No drama, no villain, just a normal, everyday, accidental human death. Tony fell and he hit the ground and he was gone. Rick stands in his secret shed. He reads the note. He reads it again. He looks at the empty toilet. He looks at the sunset outside the door. The view is still beautiful. The toilet is his again. There is nobody to fight with. There is nobody to scream at. There is nobody coming through the door. The war is over. He won. He got his secret place back. He has never looked smaller. He walks outside the shed. He sits down on the ground. He looks at the sky. He pulls out a tablet. He has all his data on Tony saved. Surveillance footage, notes, plans, records of every time Tony used the toilet. He sits there with the tablet in his lap. He listens to a song on his earbuds. The song is a sad, slow song with a man's voice in it. The song talks about loss. The song talks about not wanting somebody to leave. He listens. He deletes everything. He deletes the photos. He deletes the videos. He deletes the notes. He erases every piece of evidence that Tony ever existed in his life. Every record, every file, gone. He is back to where he started. A man with a private toilet and a beautiful empty planet and absolutely nobody to share it with. He does not cry. He does not yell. He does not break anything. He just sits. The episode is not finished though. Earlier in the episode, Rick had a plan to humiliate Tony. He had built one final trick, a big one. He had set up a death trap, a complicated trap, something to scare Tony or maybe kill him, depending on how you read it. The trap was meant to be the final move in the war. It was going to fire automatically the next time the toilet detected somebody sitting on it. Rick forgot to turn it off. So now, with no fight left to fight, with Tony dead, with the deletion done, with nothing to do, Rick sits down on the toilet himself. The trap activates. The system around the toilet glows red. Music starts playing. A robotic voice plays a recorded message. The recording was set up for Tony. The recording is meant to mock somebody, to embarrass somebody, to make them feel small, to prove that Rick won. Rick listens to it. The trap is performing for him now. The fancy, elaborate setup he built to crush his enemy is going off, with full sound and lights and effects, and the only audience is him. There is nobody to watch it. There is nobody to be humiliated by it. There is nobody to laugh about it later. There is just one tired old man sitting on a toilet on an empty planet, being mocked by his own machine in front of a sunset. He sits there. He does not move. He does not stop the trap. He just lets it finish. When the show wants to be quiet, the show gets really quiet. The end of this episode is mostly silence. Just the soft sounds of the planet. Just the wind. Just a man on a toilet with a beautiful empty world around him, with all the privacy he ever wanted, with all the peace he ever wanted, with everything he ever asked for. And he has never looked more alone in his life. That is the thing about the episode. The thing it is really saying. Rick spent the whole episode fighting for his privacy. Rick spent the whole whole episode protecting his alone time. Rick spent the whole episode trying to push another person out of his space, and then the universe pushed that person out for him, permanently. And the second the universe gave Rick exactly what he was asking for, Rick realized he did not want it. He did not want to be alone on the toilet planet. He wanted Tony to keep coming back. He wanted the fight. He wanted the company. He wanted the bother. He wanted somebody to share the sunset with, even if the sharing took the form of yelling at each other across a bathroom. He had built the whole life he has now around being a person who does not need anybody. He had spent decades training himself to be alone. He had pushed everybody away on purpose, year after year, so that when they were gone, it would not hurt as much. And then a frog man in a button-up shirt walked into his life by accident, and Rick liked him without meaning to, without wanting to, without admitting it. And then the frog man fell off a mountain. The lesson is not that Rick should have been nicer. The lesson is not that Rick should have made friends sooner. The lesson is something colder. The lesson is that even when Rick is finally ready to let somebody in, the universe is still in the business of taking them away. Diane is dead. Beth, the original Beth, is dead. Birdperson is unconscious or hurt. Squanchy is missing. Unity has left him. The friends from his war days have scattered. And now, Tony, the friend he never even called a friend, is gone too. Every single person Rick has ever cared about is either dead or out of his reach. Every single one. The view is still beautiful. Rick stays on the toilet for a long time. The trap finishes. The music stops. The robotic voice goes quiet. The lights turn off. The planet around him goes back to looking like a postcard. Soft hills, soft sky, soft wind, soft, empty, everything. He gets up. He goes home. Nobody at home asks where he was. Nobody at home notices he is in a strange mood. Nobody at home knows about Tony. Nobody at home will ever know about Tony. Tony will not be mentioned again on the show. Tony was a man who lived for a few minutes of Rick's screen time and died off screen and was deleted from every file. The audience knows about him. Rick knows about him. That is it. That is everybody. The kitchen is loud. The kids are bickering. Beth and Jerry are arguing about something small. The house is full of people. Rick walks past all of them. He goes into the garage. He closes the door. Inside the garage, on his workbench, he is still building things, still inventing, still going, still alive. He cracks open a drink. He gets back to work. If you saw him from outside, you would think he was fine. He is not fine. He has lost another one. He has lost so many that he cannot really count them anymore. He has run out of ways to grieve people, so he just does not. He works, he drinks, he moves on. But somewhere quietly, inside him, a part of his life that was never going to get any company is now even emptier than it was. A planet that nobody else will ever sit on. A toilet that nobody else will ever flush. A sunset that nobody else will ever see. All of it now just his. He used to want it that way. He does not anymore. He does not have a way to say that out loud, though. He does not have a person to say it to. There is nobody around who would understand. The therapist will not see him for a while yet. The family is too tangled up in their own things. The grandson is too young to talk to about this stuff, so he keeps it. He sits on it. He goes to bed with it. He wakes up with it. He carries it. And he gets ready to lose the next person too. Before we move on, if you're enjoying this analysis, please consider subscribing. It helps the channel tremendously. Because somewhere, around the corner of the seasons, Rick is going to come face to face with a daughter who finally, after a lifetime of being ignored by him, asks him to choose. To really choose. To make a real decision about her future, like a father is supposed to do. And the answer he is going to give is going to break both of them in a way no death ray, no portal, no toilet, no planet ever has. Section 9. The daughter he could not choose. Beth Smith is Rick's daughter. She is a grown woman. She is a mother of 2. She is a horse surgeon. She has a husband she does not really love. She has a father she idolizes in a way that is not really healthy. And for most of her life, she has been quietly furious about how Rick treated her when she was a kid. The episode is called The ABCs of Beth, 3rd season, 9th episode. The episode opens with a news story about a man on death row. The man is about to be executed for killing and eating his own son many years ago. Beth sees the man's face on the screen and freezes. She remembers him. The son the man supposedly ate was her childhood friend. His name was Tommy. Tommy disappeared one day when she was small. Tommy was never found. The dad was blamed. The dad has been in prison ever since. Beth has always told herself that Tommy got lost in a magical world she used to play in as a kid. A world called Fruity Land. She made it up in her head. Pink hills, sweet rivers, friendly animals, a safe place she invented to escape from her real life. She tells Rick about it. She is laughing as she says it, the way an adult laughs when they think about something silly they believed as a child. Rick interrupts her. He tells her Fruity Land was real. He built it for her when she was little. He made an entire pocket world, a real place, and he sent her there to play whenever she got too difficult to deal with. The pink hills were real. The sweet rivers were real. The friendly animals were real. He made it because he did not want to spend time with her. He made it because she was a hard kid. He made it because it was easier to give her a whole universe to disappear into than to be her father for an afternoon. Beth realizes something terrible. If Fruppyland was real, then maybe Tommy did go missing inside it. She and Rick go back. They enter the world together. They look for Tommy. They find him. He is alive. He has grown. He is twisted. He has been living in this world alone since he was a child. He has done things to survive that nobody should have to do. He has had children with the creatures there. He has eaten those children. He has eaten everything. He rules the place now, in a broken, sad way, as a man who never got to grow up properly because nobody came looking for him. Beth sees what she did. She remembers. As a kid, she pushed Tommy. She trapped him here. She did it because she was jealous of him. She did it because she was angry. She did it because she was already, even as a small girl, the kind of person who could hurt people without flinching. She let his father take the blame for decades. She let him sit in a cell. She let the world think the father did it. Rick is not surprised. Rick tells her, plainly, that she was always like this. He tells her that he made Fruppyland to protect the neighborhood from her. He tells her that she was a scary child. He tells her that the things she used to ask him for when she was small were not normal. Sentient knives, weapons disguised as toys, things to use on other children. Beth is shaking. She has spent her whole life thinking her cruelty was just a phase. She has spent her whole life thinking her anger was just stress. She is realizing in real time that she is her father's daughter, that she has always been her father's daughter, that every cold edge in her, every quick temper, every casual mean thing she has ever said to her own children is something she got from him, and worse than that, something she chose to keep. They make it home. They save Tommy's dad from execution by cloning Tommy from his finger. Then comes the moment. Beth and Rick are in the garage. Beth is quiet. Beth is trying to say something. She finally says it. She tells him that she is tired. She tells him that she has spent her whole life wanting his attention. She tells him that she never got it. She tells him that maybe she would have been a different person if he had been a different father. Rick listens. Rick does something Rick almost never does. He offers her a way out. He tells her that he can build a copy of her, a clone. The clone would take her place. The clone would love her kids. The clone would do her job. The clone would be her in every way that matters, except that the clone would stay on Earth, and the real Beth could leave. The real Beth could go anywhere, the whole universe. No husband, no kids, no life she did not choose, just freedom. The freedom Rick chose for himself decades ago when he left her mother, the freedom that ruined his life. He is offering it to her now. He asks her what she wants to do. The camera holds on her face. She looks up at him. She's about to answer. The scene cuts. The audience does not get to hear what she says. The show keeps it secret. The next episodes go on like normal. Beth is at home. Beth is with her family. Beth seems happier than she has been in a long time. There are little hints that she might be a clone. There are little hints that she might be the real one. The audience cannot tell. The family cannot tell. Beth herself cannot tell. A whole season later, the show finally reveals what really happened. What Beth told Rick that day, in the garage, was that she could not choose. She could not pick between going and staying. She told him to choose for her. She asked her father, for the first time in her life, to make a real decision for her, to be a real father, to take responsibility for her future. Rick could not do it. He could not pick. He could not look at his own daughter and decide whether to keep her on Earth or send her to the stars. So he did the cowardly thing. He cloned her. He made two of her. He sent one to space. He kept one at home. He randomized which one was the original. He wiped his own memory of which Beth was which, so that nobody, not even him, would ever know which one he chose to keep and which one he chose to send away. He looks at the memory of himself doing it. He shakes his head. He says, softly, that he is a bad father. That is the wound. Rick has been called a lot of things in his life. He's been called a genius. He's been called a monster. He's been called a god. The one thing he cannot stand to be called, the one thing that is true, is a bad father. And he knows it. He has known it the whole time. He has known it since he left Diane's daughter behind decades ago. He has known it since he came back and started raising Beth's family instead of his own. He has known it every day since. The current Beth, whichever one she is, does not know any of this. She lives her life. She goes to work. She raises her kids. She drinks wine at night. She does not know that her dad cloned her and sent half of herself to space because he could not make a single decision about her future. She just knows that something between them is still broken. Something deep and old and quiet. Something neither of them can name. Before we move on, if you're enjoying this analysis, please consider subscribing. It helps the channel tremendously. But there is one more story left to tell. One more loss. One more grief Rick has been carrying since before the show show ever began. The very first one. The one that started all of it. The one Rick has been trying to outrun for a lifetime and has finally caught up with him. Section 10. The Man Who Killed His Wife. The episode is called Unmortricken. It is the 5th episode of the 7th season. It is the episode where Rick Sanchez finally meets the man who killed his wife. For 7 seasons, the audience has been waiting for this. For 7 seasons, the show has been pointing at it. Every dark moment in Rick, every drink, every cruel joke, every door he slammed, every person he pushed away. All of it pointed back to one thing. One bad night, one bomb, one garage. One Rick walking in from another world with a portal gun in his hand and a grudge in his heart. Rick has been hunting him for decades. The man has a name now. The man is called Rick Prime. The episode opens with Rick getting close. Closer than he has ever been. He has spent the show building toward this. He has been tracking the killer through the multiverse for years. He has chased him across countless worlds. He has murdered countless other versions of himself, trying to find the right one. He has burned bridges. He has lost friends. He has missed his daughter's life. He has done all of it for this. To stand in front of the man who took everything from him and to make him pay. He gets help from someone unexpected. Evil Morty, the smart, calm, dangerous Morty from earlier seasons. Evil Morty wants Rick Prime dead too. Evil Morty has his own reasons. The two of them, the old man and the small boy, team up. They follow the trail. They walk into a trap. The trap was set by Rick Prime years ago, in case anyone got too close. Rick is caught. Morty is caught. Evil Morty is caught. They are sealed inside a room. With them are other Ricks, other versions of him. Ricks who have been hunting Rick Prime just as long. Ricks who have lost their own Dianes. Ricks who have spent their whole lives chasing him, the way our Rick has. A screen lights up in the room. Rick Prime appears on the screen. His face, his grin, his voice. He tells them they are going to fight each other. He says only one of them gets to live. He says the winner gets a prize. The prize, he says, is Diane. He says he can bring her back just for the winner, just for one of them. So fight each other to the death, and the survivor gets his wife back. Then he tells them the rest. He tells them that he did not just kill our Rick's Diane. He killed every Diane in every world, every single one. He built a weapon for it, a weapon that takes a person and erases them, not just from one place, but from every place at the same time. He used the weapon on Diane. He pointed it at her face. He pulled the trigger. He wiped her out of every reality that has ever existed, all in one moment. She is not in any other world. She is not hiding in some corner of the universe. She is not waiting for a Rick to come and find her. She is gone. From everywhere, forever. He made sure of it. He laughs about it on the screen. The other Ricks turn on each other anyway. They do not believe him. They fight. They kill each other, one by one. They are desperate. They will believe anything if it means there is a chance of getting her back. They kill each other in front of our Rick. Our Rick does not fight. Our Rick knows it is a trick. Our Rick lets the other Ricks die. Rick and Evil Morty and Morty escape the trap together. They track Rick Prime down to his real location. Rick goes in alone. He fights Rick Prime in a long, ugly, brutal fight. No clever lines, no big speech, just two old men with the same face trying to murder each other in a quiet room. They use everything they have. Powers, weapons, their bare hands. They wreck each other. Rick wins. He pins Rick Prime down. He stands over him. He has dreamed about this moment for decades. He has imagined it. He has rehearsed it. He has played it out a million times in his head. The thing he was going to say. The thing he was going to do. The way it was going to feel. He starts hitting him. He uses his fists. He hits him in the face. Over and over. He does not stop. He does not say much. He does not gloat. He does not give Rick Prime a chance to talk. He just beats him to death, slowly, methodically. The way a man beats somebody when he has run out of words and only has hands left. Rick Prime, somewhere in the middle of being killed, says something cold. He tells Rick that Rick is becoming him. He tells Rick that this is what he has always wanted. He tells Rick that he and Rick are the same person in the end. He tells Rick that the only difference between the two of them is paperwork. Rick keeps hitting. Rick Prime dies. The fight ends. The room goes quiet. Rick is breathing hard. His knuckles are bloody. His face is bloody. The body in front of him is broken and still. The man who killed Diane is dead. Rick stands up. He does not feel anything. He waits for it. He waits for the rush. He waits for the closure. He waits for the part where the grief lifts. He waits for the part where he finally gets to feel okay again. That was the deal he made with himself. That was the promise. He spent his whole life chasing this man. He was supposed to get something back when the chase was over. There is nothing. He killed his enemy. His enemy is gone. Diane is still gone. Beth, the original Beth, is still gone. The Diane in every other world is still gone. Nothing came back. Nothing changed. The man he hated more than anything is on the floor, and the world is still empty. He stands there in the silence. Evil Evil Morty has slipped out by now. Evil Morty has stolen the plans for the weapon that erases people from every reality at once. Evil Morty has what he came for. Rick let him. Rick did not even try to stop him. Rick chose revenge over the bigger danger. Rick made the small choice. Rick beat the man instead of saving the multiverse. He goes home. Morty is waiting for him. Morty asks if he is okay. Rick says he is fine. Rick is not fine. Rick is empty. Rick has lost the one thing that was holding his life together. The hunt, the hate, the mission. All of it is gone now. The only thing that gave shape to his life for 40 years just ended in a bloody room with no music. He sits in his garage. He drinks. He stares at the wall. He has built a fake version of Diane to haunt him over the years. A voice, a recording, something that calls out to him from the other room sometimes. He has kept her ghost on purpose because the ghost was the closest thing he had to her. Now even the ghost is just a recording. Now even the ghost is silent. He is the man who killed the man who killed his wife. That is it. That is his whole life. That is the headline. That is the obituary. That is what is going to be on his grave when he dies someday. He has avenged Diane. He has gotten the revenge he chased for decades. He has paid the price. He has lost everyone. He has lost the only friend he ever had romantic feelings for. He has lost the woman who could become anyone she wanted to be. He has lost the man on the toilet. He has lost the daughter he could not choose. He has lost his own granddaughter to himself in a way, because he cannot ever look at her without seeing the daughter he could not save. He won. He has nothing. That is where the show leaves him. That is the ending of the revenge story Rick built his life on. The smartest man in the universe, sitting in a quiet garage with blood on his hands, with no enemies left, with no reason left, with no wife, with no original daughter, with a ghost that does not speak anymore. He pours another drink. He keeps going. There is one more thing left to talk about. One more moment in this show that does not look like a tragedy at first. It looks like a regular therapy session. A small office, a quiet woman behind a desk, a grandpa who turned himself into a vegetable to avoid a doctor, a speech that lasts about a minute and a half, and by the end of that minute and a half, the whole show, the whole life, the whole man gets put on a table and named for what he really is. If you enjoyed this video essay, make sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.